I wanted to start off by telling y'all how awesome my God is, and I think that God's got a sense of humor. I mean, blessed are the meme makers and whatnot, but I think that God's got a sense of humor, and sometimes I think He likes to show off a little bit. And last night, see, I've got a Bible app on my phone, and it's got a little notification thing for morning devotion and a night devotion. You know, you can set your timer on it, or what time you want the alarm to go off. And when I've been getting ready to do these, I always read my devotion for the morning off of that, and then I'll do my own studying. And sometimes I'll go along with whatever my regular devotion was, and sometimes God will put something different on my heart. Last night was one of the nights where God put something different on my heart. And we read the James 3, verses 1 through 12. Well, tonight I did my Bible app devotion first, and look what just so happened to pop up. James 3, verse 13. What are the odds, I don't believe in coincidences. And I just started laughing, and stuff started coming to me, from the verse. He started putting stuff in my spirit. And I was trying to write it down, so I was going to take notes tonight. So I'll be a little more prepared. Well, as that stuff was coming to my spirit, I was like, slow down. I got to get this wrote down. And it was almost like God said, you need notes. I don't need notes. I said, yes, sir. And I finished praying, and here we are. So, like I said, it's James chapter 3, verse 13. And I'll read it and go from there. Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? I'm sorry. Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him shew out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom. All right. Wisdom and understanding aren't just in being able to use big words. It's not just about our intellect. The best way to display our wisdom is to live it out in our lives, humbly and meekly. Just because one is wiser than others does not mean that they have the right to gloat and lord over everyone else. That, in turn, is foolishness. Well, that one kind of hit home a little bit, because I don't know about y'all, and when I do my devotion with y'all, this is something just like my music. My music playing, something I would be doing anyway. I just share the music I'm listening to with y'all, and the memes that are on there. I've still got plenty more to put with them too, but that's the same stuff I would do if I was sitting and taking a break, trying to kind of clear my head. I'd sit and laugh at goofy memes and stuff, or do a little research, and some of those memes have good information on them. But with that, I'm not doing anything different than I would be doing anyway. I'm just sharing it with y'all, and I think that's really cool to have that ability, and the community that we've built together. And the devotions are the same way. This is something I would be doing regardless, if I was sharing it with y'all or not. So when I read these with y'all, I'm preaching myself more than I'm preaching to anybody. So I don't want anyone to ever feel like, I'm trying to talk down to anybody or anything else, because I've been treated that way. I know how it feels, and I would never try to put anyone in that, make them feel that way. And like I've told y'all before, I am extremely autistic. So sometimes I say stuff that comes to me, it's just me talking, but it could come across as being, hateful or being a smart aleck or whatever. And I just want y'all to know in advance, if anything that I say comes across that way, please don't take it that way, because if I meant it that way, you would definitely know it. But in all seriousness, I wouldn't never want anyone to think I would talk down to them. And if there's ever anything that I talk about that anyone wants to talk about in the chat, or has any questions about, or disagrees about, if you want to talk about it respectfully, I'd be more than happy to. I mean, when I say I love y'all, I love y'all. We're all a family, But it says wisdom and understanding aren't just in being able to use big words. It's not just about our intellect. Well, we know, especially in the political realm, we use facts and logic. And the other side uses what Herman Cain used to refer to as the sin tactics. They shift the subject. If that don't work, they ignore the facts. And if all else fails, they go to name calling. Now, does that not sound familiar? They cannot argue with facts because the facts are all against them. So therefore, we make jokes, and yes, we're serious about the jokes, that, we have higher intellect. And we've got to remember, though, as easy as it is to try to talk down to them, and sometimes there's a way of going about it and a way not to go about it. There's a way you can go about it that's just going to completely turn them off, and you can say, oh yeah, I owned them. But number one, owning them is not that hard to do. Number two, if you're approaching them just immediately from that, I'm going to own you standpoint, you're already turning them off. So what are you doing? Just making yourself look cool? We don't want to just prove them wrong to everyone else. We want to try to win them over too. And I hate when people say, oh, they're all lost causes. They're all lost causes. What if at any point in your life Christ had said you were a lost cause? Out of all the things you've done in your life and I've done in my life, what if Christ decided we were lost causes? That's not up to us to decide. So all we can do is try to live out our beliefs and live out our faith. And our inward relationship with Christ should appear as an outward representation. Like, if you've got that love of Christ in your heart, that's not something that you can bottle up. It should be just overflowing. So, when you're talking to these goofballs, keep in mind they're still your brothers and sisters. And I know it gives you that taste in the back of your throat to think about it with some of them. But continue to pray for them. As hard as it is to pray for some of them sometimes, pray for them. And remember that just because we have a higher intellect or, we're more wise or whatever, doesn't mean that we should just automatically talk down to them. Because at the end of the day, if we believe what we say we believe, the end goal is winning souls for Christ, not owning anybody. And I'm not saying don't make jokes. I'm not saying don't make memes. But when you are speaking directly to someone, don't try to belittle them. And I know some people are really hard to talk to, but what's the Bible say? Jesus told them, if you go into a town and they, won't hear what you're saying, knock the dust off your sandals and go on. So if you're trying to talk to someone like that, and they will not talk to you reasonably, go on. What's the point in arguing with them? All you're doing is raising your blood pressure, and it's not worth it. You planted your seed, say a little prayer for them, and go on. And you've got the Democrat-run crap polls right now where the criminals are just getting turned right back loose on the street. Some of them you can't reason with. And I'm not saying don't stand your ground, don't take up for yourself, but when it comes to just arguing and debating with them, most of them ain't going to debate. Most of them just want an argument. Don't give it to them. It's not worth your blood pressure, and it's not worth even, dealing with them. Pray that God will put something on your heart to say to them, plant that seed, and just go on. we've got to remember that if we call ourselves, the followers of Christ, if we say that we believe in the Word, you tell a tree by the fruit it bears. So, if you're just going around all the time, acting like you're high and mighty and better than anyone else, that's not showing the love of Christ. So just pray that God, gives you a humble heart and gives you that same love, for people that it just feels like even to have to share the same air as them is hard sometimes. But pray that He gives you a different heart so that you don't see it that way, that you see them as individuals, that you see them as people. I pray that everyone's doing well, everyone's family's doing well. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Trying to pull the chat up now, see if there's any comments or anything. Nope. All right. If anyone has any prayer requests or anything, or if anyone has anything they want to say, you can hit it in the chat. And I'm going to cut a couple songs on. I'll get back on and holler at y'all for a minute.